This is my Moots 2005 Psychlo X. It's a cantilever braked cyclocross bike. You can see it's got this Alpha CRT carbon fork with Canty bosses. Those are Paul Canties on there. Anyway, I had a Linsky and price was right, and the problem was that particular bike, I was just kind of boring to ride. It wasn't slow or anything, but when you got up and climbed in it, it just didn't seem to have any sprint to it. Kind of didn't surge ahead, it just kind of fell away. So I sold it. I'd rather ride my old Cannondale instead of this titanium carbon forked Linsky. But I knew I needed a different bike because the Cannondale's just a 12-speed. So I was still looking, and this thing came up for sale for cheap. I think it was $800. And so one thing, I've been riding it for about 2 years now, and bottom bracket seems to have a problem. So here we go with the thing upside down. Just pop off the chain and give it the old spin test. And it doesn't look like it's the worst thing in the whole world. But the problem is, when I had the cranks off, I could tell this non-drive side here is really gritty, really draggy. So I have a new bottom bracket on order. This Shimano unit says proudly, do not disassemble. And so I figure it's pretty easy to disassemble it. I can see what it's made of. Yeah, so it's like what happens with a lot of bikes. The drive side here, you know, there might be a speck of dust in there, but pretty smooth. The non-drive side though, it's like heavily indexed, like really doesn't want to turn. So I'm gonna pop that cap off and see what's in there. All right, and so I got the cap off, and you can see it's like, well, that might be copper anti-seize grease, but to me it looks like it's probably rust mixed in with some grease. Let's see how this guy turns. Ew. I don't know if you can see, it's like indexed, doesn't want to move. Eek, it's gonna be yucky. All right, and the bearing says 6805 RD, and I use this tiny little screwdriver to peel the outer edge of this bearing seal. Bearing shops tell me you never do this. So what do we got in there? Looks yummy. Looks like I'm gonna use some WD-40. I think this thing's hosed though. It's so indexed. Here you can see inside the bearing, I cleaned a lot of the grease away. And you can see the retainer, the balls are hidden inside that. You can kind of hear the gritty sound it makes spinning. It gets really bad once you flush all the grease out like I have. So then I'm gonna put new grease in there, or I'm gonna clean it with alcohol first and get all that WD-40 out of there, and then put new grease in there. See if I can't work it, see if it gets clean. But yeah, there wasn't any grit in there, but I think the balls just might be rusted.
because it seems the more I spray, the more that brown stuff comes off and the shinier it gets. All right, so here I filled it up with fill grease and stuck that seal back on, and you can hear it still. But it's a lot better than it was. So it'll get me through the week or so till that new bottom bracket arrives. And we got it all back together. Do the spin test. Seems to be a little noisier than it was before. A little rougher maybe. Oh, it's hard to tell. Anyway. Yeah, so there we go. All put together. Just took it on a short proof ride, and it's smooth. It rolls. Still definitely gritty. Doesn't really matter. I think at this point I wouldn't have bothered to order another bottom bracket because this seems like it's going to do me. Kind of wish I'd checked it before. The other thing I want to say is, you know, all the bikes I tried out, I was excited to get this one because of the titanium. It tolerates the salt air up here, but this bike has a really, really nice ride. Sprints beautifully, lively ride, and then strangely smooth and comfortable in the front, which I attribute to the fork. But I don't know, whatever magic they did, this bike is tight, and it just feels wonderful to ride. Geo just feels very natural for me. So yeah, I can't really say any more than that. It sort of fell into my lap, but I really like it. I like this bike more than my Cannondale. I think I like it more than pretty much any road bike I've ever ridden, which I haven't tried very many, so what do I know? Bye-bye.